Isaiah 58. I warned you last week we were going to look at this. And I'm going to turn this on because I appreciate the message. Isaiah 58. Did anybody read it this week? I did, actually. Uh-huh. Isaiah 58. Good job, Isaac. You're 4 years old, right? Yes. Could you go tell Miss Marguerite, remind her that she should read Isaiah 58? Go tell her. Go say. No. I just announced it. It's a test to see who's listening. Go tell Miss Marguerite. She should read Isaiah 58. Isaiah 58. Isaiah here, well, God has Isaiah. Poor Isaiah. And if I have fuzzies on me, I'm sorry. I had that sweater on and now I'm hot, so I took it off and you'll just have to live with it. Poor Isaiah. Isaiah's out trying to give a good message to the people. It just kind of keeps happening all along and nobody's listening. And then in Isaiah chapter 6, he has this, this amazing experience where he sees the Lord high and lifted up and the train of his robe fills the temple. And he's like, I saw God, I'm going to die. And, the angels come and they say, no, you're not. And take a coal from the altar and touch his lips, because he says, I'm from a people, people of unclean lips, and so am I. And he's touched with the coal, and the guilt is gone, and sin is forgiven, and he's made right, and like the gospel is just right there. Boom, salvation, it's yours, man. It's like it's all good. And so then there's this little conversation, and God, Father, Son, Holy Spirit, they're kind of talking, they're going, yeah, wonder who we could send, who would go for us? And Isaiah goes, me! I want to go. Like, this is really amazing. Where do you want me to go? Back to the people you were talking to who won't listen to you. For how long? Well, probably just on and on and on and on. And it's going to seem like nobody's listening to you, but ultimately there will be a few who do. So this is kind of Isaiah's experience. And so here he's with these folks. He tried to warn them about going into captivity, and nobody listened. And so now God says, what I want you to do is I want you to go. I want you to tell them how I see them. I want you to just say there's going to be a rebuke that comes. Sometimes we can have this idea that, I'm good. I'm like in this great place. I'm good. Things are going well. In fact, we like it when things are going well. Anybody like it when things are going well? Whew. And then when things aren't going well, we just want things to go well. And sometimes we get confused, and I always say, y'all are looking for heaven like right here and right now, and that's not where we are. So we can't expect that it's all going to be just good. So here's Isaiah. He says, this is from the New Living Translation. He says, shout with the voice of a trumpet blast. Shout aloud. Don't be timid. God said, say this message loud. Because I want them to make sure, and my granddaughter has that baby doll. Oh, that's where it came from. I bought it for her. Turn her off in church. She shouldn't be laughing at me. Don't be timid. Shout loud. There's a message here that needs to be heard. And then it gets kind of scary. I'm going to switch over to the message. Shout a full-throated shout. Hold nothing back. A trumpet blast shout. Tell my people what's wrong with their lives. Face my family Jacob with their sins. Okay, now it's going to hurt. You ready? They're busy at worship. And love studying all about me. To all appearances, they're a nation of right living people, law-abiding, God-honoring. They ask me, what's the right thing to do? And love having me on their side. But they also complain. Why do we fast and you don't look our way? So they're in Babylon and they're in captivity and they're fasting and doing all the things they're supposed to do, and then they're not delivered. And they're going, so God, like we're doing this thing and you're not coming and helping us. And then they say, why do we humble ourselves and you don't even notice? God's reply, well, here's why. The bottom line on your fast days is profit. You drive your employees much too hard. You fast, but at the same time you bicker and fight. You fast, but you swing a mean fist. The kind of fasting you do won't get your prayers off the ground. Do you think this is the kind of fast day I'm after? A day to show off humility? To put on a pious long face and parade around solemnly in black? Do you call that fasting? A fast day that I, God, would like? This is the kind of fast day I'm after. To break the chains of injustice. To get rid of exploitation in the workplace. To free the oppressed. To cancel debts. What I'm interested in seeing you do is this: sharing your food with the hungry. You'll appreciate the next one, Alan. Inviting the homeless poor into your homes. Putting clothes on the shivering ill-clad. Being available, okay, listen to all of us, adults. This one spoke to me. Being available for your own families. Do this, and the lights will turn on, and your lives will turn around at once. Your righteousness will pave the way. The glory of God will secure your passage. And in the New Living Translation, Brenda, it says this. Let me find it here. It says, your godliness will lead you forward, and the glory of the Lord will protect you from behind. We sang that today. Yeah, we totally sang that today. Then when you pray, God will answer. You'll call out for help, and I'll say, here I am. Now here's the interesting thing. You see, God condescends himself to us. When we pray to God and we're wanting to talk to God and have communication and a conversation with him, he actually says, I'm going to come to you. I know Jesus walks with me. Not, I want to walk with Jesus. I know Jesus walks with me. I know he is here, present with me. Psalm 139. Where can I flee from your presence, God? Wherever I look, you're there. When I go to heaven, you're there. Well, of course, I'm making good choices. Okay, that's all good. But when I make my bed in hell, behold, you're there. God, this is too big for me. I can't understand it. Where do I flee from your presence? Well, we don't, because he's always here and he's always with us, no matter where we are. If we're homeless on the street or we're sitting up on the hill. If you get rid of unfair practices, quit blaming victims, quit gossiping about other people's sins, if you are generous with the hungry and start giving yourselves to the down and out, your lives will begin to glow in the darkness. Your shadowed lives will be bathed in sunlight. I will always show you where to go. I'll give you a full life in the emptiest of places, firm muscles, strong bones. You'll be like a well-watered garden, a gurgling spring that never runs dry. Where have you heard that before? Woman at the well. What did Jesus tell that woman? Oh, hey, you'll never get thirsty here. This water never runs dry. And there will be from inside you this fountain that springs up and overflows. You see, one of the things that he's talking about here, you'll use the old rubble of past lives to build anew, rebuild the foundations from out of your past. One of the things that Isaiah is talking about here is you will have descendants. How are we raising our children? Are we teaching our children the principles of Jesus? Are we teaching our children how to carry on a legacy of service? Because Isaiah says it's not just you. It's who comes after you and who comes after them who will make a difference. There's a goal that I'm sure much of the world has. We're speaking specifically of right here in Pierce County, and that is that there would ultimately be no homeless families. Right, Alan? Jesus says the poor will always be with us. So do we feel like maybe there's one or two little things we do and then we're good and I can go back to where I was or how I was or what I was doing, and I did a night at the shelter and whew, man. I told you that, right? I did a night at the shelter, right? Oh, well, you should know that because I did. But that's not what it is. It's about loving people like Jesus loves people. It's about understanding that when Jesus speaks to us and calls to us and we consider fasting, What are we fasting for? What do we fast from? What is the intent of a fast? How do we understand it? Is there a place for fasting and prayer? Jesus certainly said that there was. But when we make that the point of our spiritual life, that I spent time fasting and prayer, and nothing comes of it, then Jesus here is saying that the word is saying through Isaiah, saying, wait. There are things that I want to ask you to be part of. You see, God created this human body to be a family, to be brothers and sisters and aunts and uncles and mothers and fathers and surrogate grandparents and whatever familiar relationship you want to be. He created us to be a family. And in the society that we live in today, we've become a little nucleus family. And we have forgotten that we're part of a bigger family. And it's been so exciting, this journey that we've been on in this last year, figuring out, man, what do we do? Well, 5.5 years, but specifically in this last year, how can we practically impact people's lives that influence them for the kingdom of Jesus Christ? What do we do? Where do we go? How do we find them? That's been my question. Well, how do we find them? Y'all were asking that. How do they find coordinated entry? How do they find this access housing? How do they find this? Well, there's ways of finding. And now God has allowed us to come into relationship with organizations who say, we know how to find them. And we can say, sweet, what can we do? You know, we've talked for 5 years about we need our own space, and we don't have our own space. We don't have a building anywhere. And it's become a blessing to us. Because we don't have a building, we've had to be in the community. So we've been at the community center, and we've been at the library, and when we, probably 4 years ago, I was using community rooms at apartment complexes. And now here's a place that has the families who say, hey, come over here to our place and meet our families. And I think it's a cool idea. Meeting with Mike Yoder and Associated Ministries on Thursdays and hearing about the new home kit, you know, linens and cleaning supplies and a cup to drink out of. Just things like that. What if we said, you know what, we're not very big here, but what if we worked together and said, the 5 families that Catholic Community Services is currently serving, we commit to those 5 families that we will be that welcome body, that we're going to make that welcome kit for. Lighthouse Church down on in Puyallup, right on 512. Y'all know where they are. Apparently they do this special offering in May. And they collect, it's a coin offering, collecting coins. So some of you hard and fast Seventh-day Adventists may have heard of the Dime Tabernacle down in Los Angeles. Has anybody ever heard of the Dime Tabernacle? Carrie has, Robert has. So the Dime Tabernacle, my grandmother was part of that. This was a long time ago. The Dime Tabernacle is burned down at least once. You said where? I think it's Los Angeles. No, it's in Battle Creek. Was it in Battle Creek? Yes. I thought it was in LA. Okay, in Battle Creek, my mistake. So the Dime Tabernacle, my grandmother was a part of this drive. You actually just kept bringing all your dimes. And out of dimes, they built a church. They called it the Dime Tabernacle. Yeah, it's burned down. Anyway, so Lighthouse, I'm sorry? Did they have insurance? I'm thinking so. So the Lighthouse, they do a coin drive in May. Their coin drive, they have a large congregation. Their coin drive nets about $10,000. And that $10,000 they've committed this year to build those welcome packages of a kitchen and cleaning supplies and linens and towels and all of those things that they don't get from the furniture bank. And so, you know, Greg and I are listening to that. We're going, whoa, hey, we could do something like that. We could be part of that. So, as a partnership with Catholic Community Services, I'm not here to speak for any of you, but I'm thinking that could be fun. Be able to go into a new home and say, hey, we'd like to bless you with this. We've met them at the shelter or other shelters or different environments to be able to make a friend and be a neighbor. What does that sound like? Does that make sense, Jerry? I mean, we've been looking for how, do something. We know we want to do that, but how and where and in what context? So here is what it goes on to say. You'll use the old rubble of past lives to build anew. Jesse, you and I talked about that a little bit yesterday. Our past lives and what they were and how God builds new out of the old. You'll be known as those who can fix anything, restore old ruins, rebuild and renovate, make the community livable again. One family at a time. Now, there's a segment here that has been so misused and misunderstood in our own faith community. So I'm going to see if I can help a little bit here. Let's see, if we were to read this out of the New King James, what time is it? I got to hurry up. If we were to read this out of New King James, this is Isaiah 58, verses 13 and 14. Some of you are going to be very familiar with this. If you turn your foot away from the Sabbath, from doing your pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy day of the Lord honorable, and shall honor him, not doing your own ways, not finding your own pleasure, nor speaking your own words, then you shall delight yourself in the Lord. Y'all know where Jesus was on Sabbath? Doing what? Like, it's usually not at church. He was serving. He was, and there's a little statement that some of you will know that says, Christ, let's see, I'm going to get the first part of it wrong, but Christ's method is the only true method. He mingled with people as one who desired their good. He sympathized with them. He ministered to their needs, won their confidence, and then he said, follow me. So it's exciting to be able to take the opportunity, treating the Sabbath as a day of joy, using it as a holy day of celebration, refusing to honor, if you honor it by refusing business as usual, but meeting Jesus where he is, serving people. Sabbath is a cool day. It is a wonderful day. It's probably one of the most exciting days because the rest of the time we're working, it's business as usual. We're working, trying to support ourselves. It's about how we take care of our families. And then on Sabbath, we get to sit back and say, so God, what would you have us do for you today? And it will always be for the benefit of another and never for the benefit of ourselves. Except for the blessing that is bestowed upon us when we have and take the opportunity to serve. So, listen. Then you'll be free to enjoy God. Oh, I'll make you ride high and soar above it all. I'll make you feast on the inheritance of your ancestor Jacob. Yes, God says so. So, we have something practical that we can do.